Hey guys, welcome back to Open Air, and this is the last part of the Survival Gear series. In this part, I'm going to be going through all the tools and some of just the stuff I wanted to get in hand and see if I would be able to use it within the packs that I want to build. If you guys haven't already, go check out the first 3 parts. Part 1, I go through all the storage options, as well as all of the sleeping arrangements, the tent, the shelter, stuff like that. In part 2, I go through all the water filtration, all the cooking stuff I got, as well as some of the lighting sources. And then in part 3, I went through some of the food options. I went through all the medical stuff that I've elected to go with. And then I kind of threw in the hygiene stuff that I felt was necessary for my needs. If you guys haven't already, please go check those 3 parts out. And then let's jump right into part 4. The first thing I want to go through with you guys is just the radio that I've elected to go with. And the radio is from Practical Survival. It's just your multi-function emergency radio. It has a couple different ways of charging it. Battery can be charged via solar, hand crank, or electricity. You can also power this with 3 AA batteries. Just want to show you guys the radio itself so you can kind of see it. Pretty self-explanatory as far as the radio. I do like it that it has a carabiner clip on here, so if you wanted to, you could attach this to just the outside of the bag. It does have an antenna. You can extend that out if you want. There's your little solar. It's not the biggest thing, but I'm sure if you would leave this out for an extended period of time, I think it would definitely charge it. But again, it gives you that capability. I think it only says it weighs less than a pound. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, just your standard radio. So the first tool that I kind of wanted to go through with you guys is just this pocket chainsaw. It's made from Camping Door, and it's a 36-inch 48 tooth little pocket chainsaw. Some videos I watched on this, people said they're kind of a gimmick, which I think the smaller ones are. But when I got this one in hand, I really liked it. Seems pretty durable. Does come with some paracord for the handles, so you got a decent little handle there to grab onto. I think this would be great if it was a 2-person job, where if you're cutting down a bigger diameter tree, each person could be on one side of the tree and you could kind of chainsaw it together. But overall, I think this is definitely more of a survival item, where if you're going to obviously build a bug out bag or an inch bag or something like that, I think this would be a great little item to throw in there. It has kind of a multi-purpose use as far as being able to cut, but then also you get that extra paracord there if need be. Again, it was one of those items that I thought would be, one, cool to see, get in hand, and then test it out and see what the practicality of this is. It does have a nice case that comes with it too. It has a little Velcro front on it where you can stuff it down. Seals up pretty nice. You do got a little belt loop there where you can kind of throw it on a bag or something. Definitely a nice little pocket chainsaw. Next thing that I went with is just your standard utility shovel. Now, some people argue that these have too high of a weight to pack them out, but I found this one, and it's a pretty compact little utility shovel here, and compacts down pretty nice. You got a little locking nut on here where you can lock it down like that as well. You got a couple different variations here, but for the most part, I like it. At first, it's pretty noisy because they didn't have this wing nut locked down all the way when it folds up. You just want to make sure that you lock that nut down all the way, and then you don't hear that no more. I think this would be great to put in a truck or something like that. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to use this or where I'm going to put it yet, but again, one of those items that I wanted to get and see if I could use it or pack it out. The next thing I got here is just your Gerber hatchet. I like this because of the size. It's not too big. You still have a really nice handle to it, but at the same time, it's nothing that's too dramatic. Feels good in the hand. Uh, you got a little finger indentation if you want to grip it higher. You got a couple different ways of holding it. If you didn't have a lot of space, I thought this would be great as far as having a hatchet goes. Seems pretty sharp right out the the pack. I originally had thought that this had a hammer back, but it's pretty thin. So I'm not 100% sure on this one yet. But again, I do love the size of it. Feels good, has a nice weight to it, handles nice again. And then it does come with a decent little case here. Covers that blade up. And then you got a little bit of a little back for attaching there. But yeah, I thought this would be great for the size. Gives you a hatchet, and yeah, from Gerber. Next tool here that I have is I went with the Silky Boy. This is the Gomboy. It's a 9.5 inch saw. It's a folding saw, medium teeth, camping, hunting, but it does come with a nice case. I won't use that. I really like this overall saw. Does cut front and back. Has a 2-position lock here if you need to cut at an angle there. Otherwise, you got the straight lock. Definitely a nice saw though. The next thing here, I went with just a Duratech bolt cutter. Again, I'll be traveling with kids if I ever had to do a bug out situation, but thought this would be nice to have in there if you got to cut a fence or something like that. It's pretty small, compact, light. It's not too heavy, which is nice. But yeah, just a small little bolt cutter. For multi-tools, I went with a Leatherman as well as a Gerber. I love the smallness of the Gerber. I think this would be great for my get home bag. So yeah, just kind of see it. But again, feels good in the hand. Spring loaded for the size. Packs down really nice. So yeah, it's pretty small, but again, spring loaded there. I like that this kind of doubles down as a like a carabiner, but then it's also a bottle opener. And then you got all your tools. The only thing that I don't really care for about being so small is the tools are hard to access, but you got your scissors, stuff like that. I think that's the only downfall. Little knife. It's the Gerber dime. And then I also went with the Leatherman. Now, knowing I had got this one, I wanted something that was less tooly, I guess, in a sense. So I went with the Leatherman Skeletool. It's the CX version. This thing's pretty gnarly. And you got the carabiner there. Opens up. Nice pliers. The only thing that this one has is you do get a Phillips. You got a two two-sided Phillips. And then you also get a two-sided flathead. So that's the tool aspect. And then you got your main fixed blade knife there. It does lock, which is nice. Yeah. So write that down. I have to say it doesn't feel that sharp. Have to sharpen that up a little bit. I wanted something a little bit more compact. You get your pliers, you get your Phillips, your flathead, and your fixed blade. For size reference, you can kind of see there, this Gerber really packs down small. So yeah. And then open wise, my options I went with for multi-tools. The next couple tools here, as I said, I believe in part 2 when I went through some of the lighting and the power bank, that was Swiss Tech. I did get some of their tools, which I again like. So as you can kind of see, the first thing I went with is their folding bow saw, which is that one. And then for a fixed blade, went with that one. I'll bosh these names, so I'm not even trying. This is their streamline flipper knife, and then this was their campfire essential tools and fixed blade knife. So I thought there was some interesting stuff in here, but just kind of get into them a little bit. Again, I love the packaging on these. Opens up, kind of gives you a brief description of what you're getting. So it's a full size 14-inch saw blade, lightweight aluminum frame, snap locking blade, rubberized non-slip grip handle, designed with large diameter cuts in mind. The 14-inch racker tooth pattern saw blade is efficient and makes short work of everything sawing task. So definitely a nice little saw there. So it just pulls out, that flips open, and then you got yourself a nice saw. I thought this would be nice. I'm drawing a blank on this, but I want to say this was only like $30 from Walmart. The first thing I thought of before I got my hands on it was I thought it would be flimsy, but it's sturdy. It's not moving at all. I thought that was really nice for the quality aspect. I like the handle, gives you a nice grip. Again, you're not going to cut the biggest diameter of trees, but it definitely gives you a little bit better sawing ability, where you can kind of, get down and actually put some force on it if you need be. But I really like it. I wish it did come with a second blade. Outside of that, uh, I like it. That's their bow saw. Next thing here is just their fixed blade knife. This one I really like too when I got in hand. It also comes with a fire steel. So you get that as well as the knife itself. So it's a really, really nice knife. I love the grip on this. It's a full tang, almost all the way to the back. It does give you this little red thing, which offers throw some cordage through there and make yourself a little lanyard or something. But feels very sharp. It's a thermal set resin combined with layers of canvas cloth provided durable and textured grip that gets grippier when wet. Basically, it's not going to slip out your hand if it's raining. But I thought this was a great knife for the money. I think this was 39 bucks. It is made from AUS steel titanium coating. It's a high quality Japanese steel built sharp and durable, but not over hard to allow for effective resharpening over time. But again, it's pretty sharp. I did watch a video on this knife of a guy pataning it, and he was beating the crap out of it, and the knife never bent. So that was one of the main reasons why I ended up starting to look at this Swiss Tech and get that fire steel as well. It does come with a pretty nice sheath here. It is a plastic sheath. It does come with a belt loop there, and then you got a way of storing that ferrule rod. I mean, and it does come with a little bit of cordage as well. You could throw that on the back and there you go. That's that one. The next one here is just your perfect mid-size folder. It's the streamlined flipper knife. And I really like this one when I got it in hand. Has a ball bearing flipper assist. So again, same material for the handle, which is that thermal set resin. Again, I love that aspect of it. Flips open really nice. So that's nice. Again, sharpness out the box. This one doesn't feel as sharp as the fixed blade one, but still pretty nice. This one just comes with a little cloth. Obviously, it's meant to be in your pocket, but I thought this would be a great option. It has a ceramic ball bearing, ensures ultra smooth opening and ease of use. I would say they're dead on with that one as far as opening. That's the knife. And then this one I thought would be nice for my get home bag. Kind of offers everything in there. So you do get a fixed blade. Has a pretty nice little coating on there. It's pretty sharp. Again, you get that little bit of paracord on the backside. Has a really nice finger indentation there for holding, for gripping, which is nice. Nice sheath. And then in here, you get a nice little case. You can kind of hook that knife right on there if you wanted to. You got the whole little pack. But it does come with, I think this holds a little bit of tinder, flint wheel sparking tool. So it does give you a directional on there, which assuming it's gonna, yeah, gives out pretty decent sparks. But this is a magnesium, plus you got a little ferro rod there to help with fire tending. And then this, I thought this was nice too. This is the telescoping pocket blow. You can help your fire if need be. And it comes in a nice little case. Thought this was a cool little pack. It also comes with like a cheese grater for tinder. So you got that if you need it. The only downfall with that is it takes up a lot of space. I don't know if I'd carry this, but they offer it. That was the stuff from Swiss Tech for tools. Again, that one first that comes in the pack. Nice blade. And then this is the folding one. Opens really nice. Has a decent belt clip on it. I'm really happy with that one. And then this is the fixed blade. Again, this one feels really sharp out of the box. And then again, it comes with that. Has a nice little click. And then it comes with that ferrule rod as well. Looks like that you can rotate that too. So that's nice. Whatever directional you want to have that on your hip or your backpack, whatever the case is. And then their bow saw. So this thing's pretty nice as well. Again, for the cost and just the aluminum, thought it would be flimsy, but it is not. So that's a huge plus. And it's light, super, super light. And then I love how this thing packs down. You just flip that open, the blade flips back up. Close that up. It goes down. So you can stick this right on the side or in the bag, however you want to do it. But I thought it had a pretty slim profile. That's everything that I have as far as the tools go. The next things that I want to get into is just some of the stuff that I got for food procurement, if need be, as well as some odd and end stuff that I thought would be nice to have. One, see, and then obviously help pack the bag, stuff like that. So the first thing here is it's a small game survival snares. This is also made, as I said before, I had another product from DEFCON 1, the Idaho Prepper channel. This is another product that he makes. Again, I wanted to support his channel. Definitely some nice snares. I think 5 comes in here. The only thing that he advises is if you get this is to boil them in baking soda just to try to get the smell off of them. But thought it comes in a nice can, packs down nice. So next thing I got here is for fishing. Now obviously these are illegal in some states, but I never even heard of them until I started watching survival videos. And obviously in a survival setting, they'd be nice to have. But it's basically it's a fishing yo-yo. You can attach this to a tree or a branch or something. This pulls out and then it locks. And then, you put your lure on there. You can set them. And then when the fish take it, it basically springs. That will spring hard. So I thought they were neat. I wanted to kind of get them in hand, see them. But in a survival setting, I think I definitely agree. If you're in a survival setting, you might not have the time to fish. So having something like this would be really useful. I got a couple of these just to throw in the bags to kind of add with my fishing stuff in a survival setting. A fishing yo-yo. Now, obviously you can go with like the very basic little survival fishing kits where you get like a hook and some line, which I think is not practical. If you fish, that's not practical. But I wanted to get a couple different things here. I really liked this product here. It's from Top Fort, and it's basically a full little fishing lure kit. Now, at first, it is heavy. It's waterproof, but they do come with tons of different weights. Now, when I initially bought this, I thought I could take out the weights and kind of add in my own stuff, but the compartments you can't move the compartments around. I thought I could really open this up and make a full fishing kit out of it. That was the downfall with this, but I'm definitely going to take from it. I ended up going with these cases, which you can kind of do what you want with them. And so I'm going to make a full fishing kit with this. You got a bunch of different compartments, and you can take out those dividers and make a bigger compartment, stuff like that. And then just went with some basic 10-pound tests here, kind of give you a little bit of everything as far as what you can fish for. The next thing I got for the fishing aspect is from Bass Dash. It's a fly kit. Obviously, you'd want some sort of fly for fishing, for quick fishing. And so this thing is pretty light, pretty small. So I thought this would be great to have, to not only have as like a survival to throw in your actual bug out bag or inch bag or something like that, but in my adventure, and I definitely want to do some fishing, so I wanted to have a nice little fly kit. And I just got some crappie bait, and then some of your standard bait here. Just wanted to kind of make a full fishing kit And this was the stuff that I went with. The next thing that I wanted to go through with you guys is just your basic cleaning stuff for firearms. I went with just a couple snakes for the calibers that I'd be carrying. I definitely seen in all the videos that I have watched, especially people that go as far as the tactical route, where they have everything that they need for the weapon, but they don't have anything to maintain or clean that weapon. I think this is essential if you're building that type of bag. Now, in my actual adventure slash get home bag, I won't have any of this stuff in, but definitely in my survival bin that I want to make, where if I have to leave my house for whatever reason, I have this in there for maintaining and cleaning my firearms. So definitely think this is something that you should have. The next thing here is just your standard compass. Now, obviously, you can go with a nice compass, a fancy compass, but this one is just like your basic standard compass. Now, I did think it was going to be thinner than what it actually is. It's pretty thick, has a decent weight to it, so I'm probably going to get something different. But having a decent compass that reads true north is pretty important. You can shoot an azimuth with this. So it offers everything that you need within a compass, but I think it was one of those ones where it didn't look as big online. We'll see how I use this. Obviously, having a compass is important. To piggyback off the compass, I just got your basic map. I'm in Wisconsin. I got a full map of Wisconsin. I work a lot in Illinois. This map offers basically the upper part of Illinois. If I'm down there working and something happened, if I had to get back, I can use this for that. It is waterproof, so that's nice. But again, I think having a decent map, waterproof is essential. And then to go along with that, I got a Right in the Rain notepad, the pens that come with it. It does have a nice little case here. We'll see if I use this for like an admin pouch, but not 100% sure if I'm going to use this or not. Now, my little spiel to go with this is I've seen on most videos, their biggest thing that they use this for is they preach you're going to leave somebody a note, and which is true. You can definitely use this to leave a note to somebody. But I think the biggest thing that you should use a Right in the Rain notepad, especially if you're putting it in like a bug out bag or an inch bag, something that you're not going to use regularly. I think you should have specific stuff in this. One would be the route to wherever you're going to go. So if your cell phone don't work, your GPS don't work, whatever the case is, you might be distraught and forgetful. Having specific roads written down, specific landmarks, something that can jog your memory in the sense of that's right, I have to go this way. I think should be in this notepad. The land you're going to, right? Now, if you've been on that land in all the seasons and you know that property, good. But if you don't, going there, finding out where the high ground is, where the low ground is, where your water source is, and where the swamp parts are, where's more forest than there is forests to a road, right? Having all that written down so that if you had to go somewhere, you have that information here that can either jog your memory or give you an insight of where you're at. I think that's what should be in here in those type of situations. Now, obviously, you can put whatever you want in here, but I think that would be useful information to have in here where that if you have to grab this bag and go, again, you might be distraught, you might be in a stressful situation, and you may forget where you're going. You may forget a road or whatever the case is. But if you have different routes down, what if you have to cross a bridge somewhere and that bridge is out, right? Now, you don't got GPS. So by having a second route already pre-planned or a third route pre-planned and you have that written down in here, you can now reference back to this and be like, okay, yeah, I can go this way. I think that would be very useful to put in this. That's my spiel. The next thing here is just all the tape I have, electrical tape. You can use that for anything. Orange duct tape. The reason why I have orange duct tape is anything that you're going to potentially drop, especially if you're in a forest setting, if that is perfect example is this knife, right? It has that green color. You have a little bit of red on here, but if you drop this especially blade down, you might not find it. So by taking a little bit of orange tape and just wrapping it around the base of the blade or a little bit on the handle where you just have that little bit of signal where if you drop your item, you have this to find it. I can tell you how many times I've been in the woods and I've dropped a knife or dropped a flashlight and I'm literally standing over the top of it and it's that hard to find, especially if there's leaves, stuff like that. By having a little bit of orange tape will go a long way. And then the next thing is Gorilla Tape. I got to figure out how to pack this, but I've seen a lot of people where they wrap it around cards, stuff like that. So I'll definitely figure out something for that. Tape, zip ties, 100 uses. I agree with everybody. You can use zip ties for anything. So zip ties. The next thing here is just Ozark Trail head net. If you're in a mosquito area, I think this is one of those things where I thought it would just be nice to have in a bag. If you needed it, it's there. Doesn't weigh nothing. Head net. The next thing I got here is just some carabiners. This one, I love the aspect of a twist and locking aspect on it. You don't have to sit there and screw it. These are for climbing, so you can actually put weight on these. And then these ones are basically just for accessories. So one had a couple different options for that. The next thing is just a knife sharpener. Pretty basic. Just keep the knife sharp if you're out there. But small enough, I thought it'd be nice to have if I needed it. Knife sharpener. Next thing, whistle. I think you're in a survival setting. If you needed help, having a whistle, I think is nice. You got it orange in color, just in case if you drop it, you can find it. A whistle. Super glue. Super glue is essential. You can use super glue for so many things. I think it's one of those things that should be in all kits. Super glue. The next thing is tick removers. I didn't know this was a thing until watching survival videos. And I have dealt with a lot of ticks and didn't know these were a thing. So definitely excited to see how these work, especially on my dog. We'll definitely test these out for sure. But yeah, didn't even know this was a thing until watching survival videos. And then this is just a med patch I got for adding on one of my med kits. I thought that was pretty cool. Next thing here is just some patches. I wanted to get some patches just to repair gear if need be. So just having some repair stuff. So patches. The next thing here is just your standard window punch and seatbelt cutter. Thought this would be nice to have in the bags. The next thing here is with like the patches and repairing is I did get a pretty extensive sewing kit. Has a bunch of different stuff in here. I really like it because it offers basically every type of needle that you'll need. Comes with a tape measure, which I thought was nice. Nice little scissors. We got some thread loopers. I thought this was a pretty decent little kit. I wanted to get it. I really like the case. I'm not going to need every single color. So I'll probably take out a row of this, add this over here, and then double this down into something. Probably put all my patch stuff in this kit itself. So have everything that I need right in here. I think the standard is contractor bags. Tons of different uses. Batteries, cheap batteries. I got these at Harbor Freight. I might get some Duracell ones, but for the time being, these will do. I definitely forgot to show you guys these in the hygiene aspect, but I did go with some Porta wipes. These are like those compressed towels where you just add a little bit of water to them and they expand out. They're pretty decent towel size and they're pretty strong. So I definitely like these so far. They come in these little carrying cases, but then I did order it's like 500 pack of them. So you get 4 carrying cases, but then the rest just come in a normal bag. So I ended up air sealing them in some different variations. So I thought this would be nice where in a get home bag or in an adventure bag or something like that for hiking or backpacking, whatever the case is, where you had your tube, but then you got another set ready to go that's sealed. They're not going to get wet. So you can pack those in. But then also I packed them in bigger quantity for survival bin or an inch bag, something like that, where if you wanted a decent amount of them, but don't want them to get wet, stuff like that. They can pack down pretty nice. I thought that was a decent idea for a couple different variations of the Porter wipes. I want to show you guys these quick. These are energy mints. Now I've seen, a lot of people have like caffeine pills, but I thought this would be a better option. One, individually packed, which caffeine pills are too. But I thought this would be nice because there's 3 in a pack. One mint is equivalent to 1 cup of coffee. So not only do you get that energy, but at the same time, you get something to kind of chew on. Just a little bit of satisfaction, I think, would go a long way in something like this. So I've elected to go with these. For bugs, again, like I said, I wanted to go with like individual packs of a lot of this stuff. So I went with this with Off Deep Woods, come in these little individual packs. And yeah, I thought this would be nice instead of having like an actual bottle of spray that could potentially leak. And then there's some bug bite blister. It's like a chapstick. You just kind of put it on your bites and it relieves itching, pain, and swelling. So bug control. So I got a bunch of little stuff here. These I thought would be nice. They're mouthwash. They come in like these little individual packs. So I thought this would be nice to add in with the hygiene. And then with all this stuff here, in Wisconsin, you can't have any pill outside of its natural bottle. And I don't want to pack bottles of all this stuff, but you can pack this stuff in anything. So these are all individual packs of this stuff, which I thought was nice. I got some anti-diarrhea, some Pepto, hydrocortisone cream, and then I also went with some potassium iodine tablets. So yeah, that's all the stuff there. Well, that's a wrap to part 4 of the series and the end of the series. Hopefully you guys liked everything. Again, I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of the items that I've elected to go with in each category, my initial thought on it, as well as kind of, my general thought process of how I may use that particular item. But hopefully you guys like it. The next couple of videos will obviously be me building out these kits and showing you guys how I kind of pack this stuff out and, what things I've elected to put in each bag. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you back for the bag loadouts.